place. It's just, you know, everywhere. There's shitheads everywhere, you know, so you can't escape that. Oh. I'm looking at all this alien UFO stuff in the news now. I remember telling people like a couple years ago, when I thought it was going to happen, when I thought it was like imminent, I'm like, hey, you know, just telling people I know, you know, people like Nia, who I live with. I'm like, yeah, if you start seeing things about aliens on the news, it's all bullshit. There's no aliens, you know. And it's like, the thing is, like, I mean, what the past couple of years with the whole COVID thing has shown us is that people will basically believe anything the television tells them. So, of course, everybody's gonna, like, you know, believe it. And, I thought they would have rolled this out a long time ago, but they're following the timeline that a lot of us kind of expected. But I gotta say that the whole Cove thing, I didn't see that one coming at all. You know, that was a left, what's it, a left ball? What's a left ball? A curveball. I knew something like that was possible, and there have been like mutterings about it in the sort of schizo channels, but you'd hear stuff like that intermittently. I never gave it much thought, and then it happened. It was like, holy fuck, they're rolling it out. And so if people went for it en masse the way they did with that, then it's not going to take them much convincing to think we're being invaded by aliens. I was walking through here the other night, right here. It was, I don't know, like 7:30 at night. And I'm walking by that area, and there's a guy standing against the wall. And as I walk by him, he starts walking alongside me. And he's like, I don't know, middle-aged, sort of howdy guy. Dressed like he was like the manager at Target. Like, in his street clothes though. I don't know if that's, if you have any idea. Polo shirt. I don't know, he looked like a regular dude. He looked like a dad that was on vacation and gets separated from his family. Very normal Holly guy. And he starts walking beside me. He's like, talk to me. And I'm like, what? I heard what he said, but I wanted to give myself a minute to try to figure out how I was going to deal with this situation. He's like, talk to me. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to talk to you, man. And around this time is when I smelled he had a lot of alcohol in his breath. And he's like, you're going to talk to me. And I stopped and I face him. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I went and reached toward my pocket to grab my human defense, a human defense item. I was gonna just yank it out. And as soon as I put my hand toward my pocket, he backed all the fuck the way off. Like almost stumbled. And turned around and walked off, mumbling as he looked back at me. I'm just like, man, you're drunk, you know? It's kind of weird. But you get that kind of stuff here, you know, that those sort of things happen. I think I did a video about it after it happened, but it was one of those last week videos I did. I did a bunch of videos when I was banned, and I looked back. Hey, John, what's going on, man? How's it been, bud? Good to see you. That guy's cool. He's one of the few guys I can talk to about things, you know. He's not a normie. He's like he's not as I guess into the esoteric knowledge kind of occult stuff, but he's hip to a lot of other stuff that's going on with the government and all the fake bullshit and psyops and things like that. it's nice to have a guy like that to talk to, or I could run into occasionally and, you know, have a conversation about stuff. But, yeah, I look back at, I was editing some of those videos, and man, a lot of them just weren't very good. The thing with me is, like, once I film something, unless I immediately go home and start editing it, I have too much time to if I have too much time to look at it, I'll convince myself it sucks and then not use it. I still do that. Like, a lot of stuff I don't use. But basically when I'm out, I just, you know, film as I'm walking around. And if I get it home and there's anything in it that's kind of interesting, yeah, I don't know about this one. that weak ban though really messed with my channel. I don't really care about numbers and stuff. I don't really check out my analytics, or that's not the point of the exercise here. But looking through since I've been back, I'm getting like the same numbers I got like the first week I started, like 10 views, 11 views. It's crazy. I think that's part of the idea or the plan as far as how to deal with people like me. Demoralization. The ban was based on nothing. They just banned me. There was no reason. They claimed, I don't even know if I went into this, they claimed that in the video I was inciting violence and glorifying violence. And I wasn't doing anything close to that. I was talking about when people die. I wasn't glorifying violence. Yeah, when people die. No, I was talking about like where people go when they die, like these NDE people that have these near-death experiences in the airport, all this stuff. It was about that, and it was up in my room, up in the back cave, just talking about that shit. So it had nothing to do with. They just wanted to ban me. It was like 2 years old, the video. So what it established is they can at any time just giving you time out for a week. And don't need to have any kind of excuse. Like, I even asked them when I appealed, and, you know, I'm probably talking about a robot too. It was like, would you like to appeal? And the way they word it, right? There's no option to just ask, what was it? Where's the offending terminology or portion of the video? Like, what was it that you know, triggered the banning? Because I'd like to know, that way I can avoid it in the future. They don't answer you. They don't tell you. And to ask that question like I did, you have to appeal. I didn't care about appealing it, but the only option I had was, I'd like to appeal this video to have it reinstated. And any additional notes. I don't care if it was reinstated. You know, I don't care about the videos getting deleted. I'll fucking make another one. I don't even, outside of what it was, what the subject was, because I watched through it, I don't know. I don't know if there was really even anything good in it. It was just my take on that NDE kind of stuff. And yeah, it felt like they arbitrarily just picked it and just said, all right, we gotta, this guy's talking wacky. I don't know. Because I think it's also, it can't be people. It's got to be like an algorithm. Well, of course. I think the way this works, right, is, I mean, they keep track of everything you say. And maybe once you accumulate a certain amount of bad words, like, you know, maybe I talk too much about any of the things I talk about, you know, maybe agencies or trafficking or any of that kind, not even that stuff, but I mean, I'm sure that's included in the bad words, but I think once you reach a certain amount of like forbidden topics that you don't know are forbidden because they don't tell you, they just automatically ban you. And they just pick a video from, you know, in fact, I think the reason they pick an old video is so you don't get mad. Like, all right, well, he's reached, again, I'm saying it as that people are having this conversation. No one's having this conversation. It's like a program. This is like an algorithm thing. I hit whatever arbitrary threshold that is obfuscated by them, that I reached, that I got enough bad words. So they just went into my old videos, into the older ones, the ones that were 2 years old, and just chose one because it had nothing to do with what it got like at all. Like this, it isn't even a thing where, like, you know, maybe you could. There was nothing about violence in the whole thing. Never mind glorifying it or instigating it. I think the wording was. If I find I think I screenshotted the support thing. If I have it, I'll post it here. If I don't, there's not going to be anything here except this Trout International Marketplace. Let's go up in the treehouse. Get some clarity and some quiet reflection time. Walk by our buddy Don Ho over here, immortalized in whatever the statue's made out of. Yeah, so it was just like an algorithm thing. This is what I'm imagining, and I don't think it sounds too crazy. It would make more sense than, you know, human beings doing it. Like, it's just too weird. It's like, if they can hit me for that video and say it's about this and that, then they can do that with anything. Then they can basically, you know, nothing means anything. And they can at any time just do whatever for any reason. So as far as like trying to worry about what I'm saying, I guess I still have to, because probably what happened is I reached the threshold for the amount of naughty things I can say, or naughty topics I can talk about. It keeps people from, you know, discussing the JQ or IQ or, you know, some of the other stuff I sometimes talk about here, because world events do hold a bearing, or have a bearing, on the metaphysical realm, and vice versa. They work together. You know, what happens here is has an effect on the metaphysical world, but mostly it's coming from there. The metaphysical world has a more of an effect here. This treehouse is cool. I've been in here a couple times before. This is how it used to look here. When Nia grew up here, she said this place was more like a flea market type of thing. This whole thing here, this whole mall, was more like a dirt floor, and it was just like local vendors, and no like major stores like this. And this all started in the 90s. Yeah, I've been up here and we've looked at this before, but we're doing it again. Old Hawaii evening. Yeah, when did this place go in? I think the year's over here somewhere. This is the same thing we were just looking at over there. This is the treehouse we're in right now. Oh, this was the original. This was this tree right here was planted, and it just says the 1800s, by a New Zealand couple, Henry and Eliza McFarlane. Huh. This large banyan enlivened the retail spaces designed in. Yeah, a lot of the trees here were imported to here. There aren't, like this tree here isn't indigenous to Hawaii. I had a friend that knows a lot about this stuff, and he'd walk me, you know, when we'd be walking around somewhere, he'd say, oh, see all these trees over here in this part of the park, these are all from here, and he knew a lot about that kind of stuff. I would have no idea, you know, otherwise, that these things are from anywhere. Another art place, huh? There's a toy store over here that I buy my plastic shit into to defy call for an uprising. This is a call for an uprising. Yeah, then you see guys like that, right, that don't have any problems with hundreds of thousands of viewers, right, and subs and things like that, and they have no problems. I've never cracked 200 followers, subscribers in my almost 3 years here, and I've been banned 3 times. And this last time for literally nothing. I mean, just, and there's no recourse. You don't have anyone. I feel like, am I whining about this? No, I mean, even though to me it's like not that much of an issue, there are some people that put a lot of work into their stuff and they get it monetized. And well, then again, if you're getting monetized and you're not saying anything, that they're going to give you a hard time about it. It's censorship, man. It's like this is the kind of stuff that we used to say only happened in other countries, you know, but it happens in every country because countries aren't separate. It's all one big group. Wars, just blood sacrifice. The countries aren't mad at each other ever. This stuff's all planned out. It's just a big show for us. And that's it. Like I was just thinking the other night, like, I don't know what got me thinking on this train of thought, but this guy was trying to explain how you can get some people to go along, not to go along with, but to kind of see things, feel like a conspiratorial person, which I don't think I am, because and I don't consider myself a truther either, but whatever. And it was really resonating with me, like, and I don't know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it's almost like you can get normies to maybe get in on the ground floor of what you're saying. Like, you know, you could argue that the moon landing was faked, you know. You could point out things like, you know, the lander itself, the spaceship they flew there in, that looks like a meth head's fort with duct tape and, I mean, construction paper, curtain rods. It's humiliation. You know, they're trying to humiliate you. You know, they do this stuff all the time. They put this ludicrous thing in front of you, and they're just like, yeah, we don't need to convince you anymore. This happened. And even though you can't get a good phone connection, if you're in the stairwell of your building and you're talking to your friend next door on a current phone, the president in 1969, he called the moon from a rotary phone, and it sounded the fucking balls. It's perfect. You know, you can point out stuff like that, and some people who don't automatically defensively do it, Agent Smith, and like become demonic and turn on you, like, ugh! The people that you can actually reason with a little bit would maybe like, oh wow, you know, he's onto something here. The problem is, then, I mean, there's way more steps after that. Like, then you have to tell them, well, actually, there is no such thing as space, and you know, and then at that point, it's like, all right. And then anything you told them up to that point goes right out the window, right? So, but I've said this a lot of times before, like, and I think others are kind of coming around to it. Trying to convince anyone else that there is something is afoot at the Circle K, that's over. Anyone that was going to see that is going to see it, you know. And like if you see someone that's almost there, you know, that's kind of coming around to it, and you can help them out, and you think it's not going to hurt you by doing so, yeah, you know, sure, you know, how about it? But I think that the time is over for that. And there's enough of us, anyway, you know, that can kind of see through the veil now. And I feel very grateful to be able to do that, to be blessed by God, to have the ability to see, you know, those of us that can should be very lucky. I was just watching my friend Regan. She did a live stream today. She mentioned that she's really plugged in. I've mentioned her before, and mentioned to her about how plugged in she is. And by plugged in, I mean like connected to source in a way that I almost feel like she's like a representative here to kind of try to help others to kind of process what we're going through. I mean, it's a really weird thing, right? I mean, to wake up into this, the understanding that all this stuff is going on, you know? It's kind of tough. Well, not for me, I don't know. For me, it's not tough. But there are some people that struggle with it. Like realizing that, like, everything was a work. And it's like, wow. To me, though, it's like, you know, it happened gradually over a number of years. So, I mean, I never imagined in a million years that it would be to the extent that it is. Like, I always go back to that, not William Gacy, what the fuck's that guy's name from the CIA? Oh, I just said CIA again. Oh, fuck. Oh, well, CIA. The quote about, we'll know our disinformation campaign is complete when everything the American public believes is wrong, is false. Yeah, I remember first seeing that and being like, wow, yeah, you know, that's crazy. And thinking in my mind, right, he's probably talking about, like, you know, the banking system or industry or politics. You know, he wasn't being specific, but that must mean what he was talking about. You know, something like that. No, he was being specific. He meant everything, you know, and it is everything. But that kind of awareness is something you have to be, I don't want to say predisposed to be open to. Like it's like some, you have to be like a special boy to understand it. I think people can get across, can swim across that channel under the right circumstances. Some people can. I don't know what I think about that, you know. I mean, I always say that most of the people around you, how you doing, God bless, are not people like, you know, you are. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Good. All right, you taking the bus, or? Yeah. Oh, cool. I'll see you soon, man. That guy's cool. Yeah, and it's just, I know people don't like when I say that, but, and I know it's not a real safe thing to say, because when you start talking like that, people think, oh, what are you, a genocidal man? It's like, no, I always say you got to treat people the way you want them to treat you, even if they're phony programs created by the OS to walk around and fill up the scene you're in. You still have to act like they have souls, just like you, even though they clearly don't. The other night, and I've talked about this before too. I've talked about a lot of these ideas, but I've made so many videos that's like, you can't. I can always bring up a thing again, because chances are, you know, you haven't seen it. But people kind of walk on a track. There's an area over by Long's where I go to like almost every night, and you can go around kind of, it's not a flower bed thing, but it's like a little side kind of path that you can take off the main street where all the tourists walk. No one takes it though, even though it, you know, it's a nice little reprieve from the hordes, from the walking hordes. And people, when they're on the street, right, it's almost like there's three tracks. They're either going to walk right in the middle, which is what a lot of people do. You know, everyone fucking walks right in the middle, like they're doing the fucking opening shot of a movie or something. But anyway, if they're not right in the middle, there's a track to the left and a track to the right. There's basically three tracks that people will walk on. And that's it. You know, like, I was thinking that this morning when I was walking back from the walk to Nia's work with her. And there's no one out. It's like 6 in the morning. And this dude's like walking behind me, like right behind me. Even though it's just me and him, and there's this huge sidewalk, he could just, like, there's so much more room. He didn't have to walk right behind me. He's walking right behind me. And that happens a lot. I mean, if you've seen me freak out about that in videos, from time to time I have meltdowns about that. But it's because he's on a track. He got on his track. He's not going to be able to bob and weave in between people. The people that you see bobbing and weaving out there are probably people with divinity, some connection to God, have what we would call souls or whatever. They're more real people. They're able to get off the track, you know, the track where there's just 3 different choices I have. And it's stuff like that I noticed that the more I have my eyes open to the fact that they're just not like me, I can start to see little habits that they have that I don't. That seem nonsensical until you put it in the perspective of, oh, well, these are like computer people. They're there. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why they're there, but they take up most of your scene, most of the people you see walking around you. This idea came to me a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when I started kind of discovering this. I remember seeing my friend I was with, I was trying to explain the concept. I'm like, I don't think a lot of these people are real. There was this one dude in a red shirt. We're just sitting outside on those outdoor things, and I'm trying to explain it. I'm like, all right, you see that guy with the red shirt, like 4 blocks down? You could see him because his shirt was red. I said, well, I can never talk to that guy because he's not like real. If I went to kind of, if I decided I'm going to walk up to him and talk to him, the more I went toward him, he'd take a right or a left, or he'd just move out of the scene. The people that are furthest away from you are the least real, because they have the least rendering, you know, in a video game term, the least amount of detail. Quantum theory talks about how things are only there if you look at it. They came up with that whole scenario when they did that test with the particles, where they had the 2 different tubes. I forget the name of it. I was just trying to think of what it was called. Where they had these 2 different tubes, and during the test, one particle would jump into the other tube, and they didn't know why this was happening. So they were trying to measure the space inside the tubes so that when the particle moved, they could see at which point it moved. But when they put the instrument on it, however they used it, to measure the space inside the tube, it didn't move. It stayed in there. Things like freeze when you look at them. And then when you look away, it gets all jumbly again. It's very much like a computer, like a video game. Like if you ever play those MMORPGs, or even like regular like RPGs. Like if you're here, if I'm here, I can see that mountain, right? It's foggy out. They don't have to render or detail all the windows and all the doors because I'm not there, you know. And as I get closer to it, more detail would come into view, but then this area I'm in now would come into less view. Why do I smell dog shit? Is it on my feet? Let me look at my shoes, sorry. I'm explaining this really bad, but the idea is that only the things around you are detailed, and I think that's true as well for people. If you see people off in the distance, you'll never get to those people, you know, because by the time you get to them, they're not there. They're only there rendered very low resolution just to fill up that area. I think this is why I haven't broken 200 subscribers. It's fine. If you get it and you're in tune with me, you get it. Oh, what was I talking about Regan for? Oh, I don't know. I think I finished that thought. Whoa. Yeah, she's great. Every time I watch one of her streams, it's like she's talking to me, like she's answering questions I have. It's weird. She's like a she's like a representative of the source, I feel like. Here to Assange fears, or Assange fears, or Julian Assange fears of some of us who are, you know, working for God, participants in the spiritual war, can see what's going on, can see through the veil. It's confusing, and a lot of times you feel like, you know, okay, I have all this information, I understand something a lot of other people don't. What should I do? And the answer really is just exist. Because what you are is a small part of what will eventually be a collective. Once we hit a certain amount of critical mass where people are aware of this whole thing, then things can change. How that works, whether we transcend to the 5D, however, I mean, everyone's got different ideas of how that works out. But us just being here, and I would add to that, being aware of the situation, is job done. But because of the world we were raised in, we kind of feel like we should be doing something for this thing that we're in. Like, okay, I'm a spiritual warrior dude, I'm working for God, you know, what do I do? You know, and you say, well, you just nothing, you hang out and that's it, just that, you know. But the part of me that was raised in this world is like, no, you gotta achieve things, you have to do something. To anyone like that, I would say just create, you know, because chances are you're some kind of artist. If you wouldn't be understanding this stuff if you weren't. Because what we are is creators. We're creator beings. That's what makes us the most dangerous to the enemy, too. The most dangerous. I'm talking dyslexic now. I think it's almost time for my old man afternoon nap. Yeah, my fucking sleep is so weird, guys. It's like fucking... I get 3 hours, I wake up. 7 or 8 hours go by, I'll get 2 hours, I wake up. I mean, the going down for extended periods is very rare. Very rare. That's a good thing, too, because... And that's a good thing, because what's going on up in the other realms is really weird. Or not up, I just say up because you know, when you think about leaving your body and all that stuff, you're thinking in a direction. It's not a direction, it's just a different frequency, a different level of frequency. There's some really weird stuff going on there. They've gotten way more intense. They're puzzles, I believe. Like when you're there, you're supposed to be solving some kind of puzzle or doing some kind of thing. Kind of like here. Kind of like here. But I think I've already solved my puzzle here. But, still good to do other stuff. Create if you're an artist of any kind. And like I said, if you weren't, you wouldn't be listening to me talk right now. Create. You know, just keep creating. Even if no one sees it, not things that you even need to show people. You know, like I said earlier, I make a lot of videos I don't post because they're just no good. Or I deem them to be just not interesting enough, or I don't have anything in them that, for whatever reason, I don't like them. I don't have to explain this. It's not interesting. Speaking of not interesting, I should probably let you go. I'm gonna be hitting the street later, do another demon hunt. I think I got something down this time for if I get in a situation like I got in that last time, right? Where I didn't really know exactly what to do because I'd never been in that particular kind of situation before. I think I got something down. I think I'm ready for a moving situation like that one was. So hopefully we get a nibble out there tonight. We shall see. Until then, don't blame the teacher.